here on Power 92, today's hottest music. I told you this man was going to be calling in. You just heard his song, Windows Down. Y'all help me welcome my brother all the way from St. Louis. He goes by the name of Thi'sl. What's good, fam?
What up with it, bro?
Hey, man. You got it, bro. You got it, man. I appreciate you checking in with me this morning.
Oh, yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yes, sir.
Been a long time coming, man.
I'm telling you, man. Way too long. We've been talking about it for a minute, so I'm glad we finally got it cracking.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, the first thing, of course, that jump out at them is your name, Thi'sl. It's very different, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure they've never heard anything like it before. So Thi'sl, let's go ahead and break down the name first and foremost.
Yeah, I get a lot of people, they be like, oh, it's like short for thug, Thi'sl, you ain't a thug no more. And the thing is, I've been calling myself Thi'sl for a good, 10 years now.
Okay.
So when I started calling myself that, it wasn't because it was something that was popular. It was because that was something I wanted to call myself.
Right.
But it's an acronym.
Okay.
It stands for This House I Shall Live.
So it's THISL.
This House I Shall Live.
Okay, that's what's up, man.
And it was real comforting for me when I first became a Christian, because I was in the streets and all kind of crazy stuff before I got saved. And one of my biggest things when I came out the street was to quit carrying a burner, ratchet. We call them ratchets in St. Louis. You might call it a gun for those of y'all that don't know street terms.
Right.
But,
what's a ratchet?
Right. So I'm like, man, I was sitting up and I used to be like, man, I always thought somebody was going to kill me.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't that I was scared, because I had been into near-death situations a million times.
Oh, you said scared. That's that St. Louis coming out. Scared. Don't be scared. I go ahead, man.
I wasn't scared. It was just I wasn't going to be foolish and let nobody kill me.
Right.
That was one of the hardest things for me, to quit carrying a gun. And the more I went to the scriptures and the more I read and I learned about God, I remember seeing this scripture that rocked me. It called our body a house, and it was comforting. It was like, yo, the Lord live in me, He dwell in me. If I do die, I'm going to be with the Lord. But the Lord also assured me when I was going through the scriptures, just looking at different stuff, when you make peace with me and you obey me, I'll make even your enemies be at peace with you. That's how I came up with the name.
Okay, that's what's up, man. So man, you talked about, coming off the street, man. Just give us a little bit of your testimony, man, your background, where you came from before you really got into doing what you're doing now.
Man, by the time I was 11 years old, my mom was on drugs, full blown. And of course, I was so used to having certain things.
Right.
When I was 8, 9, you know what I'm saying? I have an old coming up. By the time I'm 11, 12 years old, I'm getting to middle school. My mom, she on drugs so bad now. We moving from place to place, going to stay with my grandma, going to stay with this person. And it was just it's sad, but it's true. A lot of times in our communities, we so isolated off. Only thing I saw to do was hustle.
Right.
And everybody I hung around, by the time we 12, 13, everybody I'm hanging around, they mom's on drugs. They daddy's gone just like mine.
Right.
So they coming to school. We in 7th, 8th grade. My boy coming to school with $2-3 grand in his pocket.
Man.
And I'm sitting there we don't even got no food at the crib.
Right.
So I'm where you get the money from? And before long, it was just one person after another, and it was on. Now, I was in the streets all my life from that point. I got saved when I was 21 years old, something like that.
Okay.
Up until that point, from 12 to 21, bro, that's all I did. I hustled. I was in the street, getting shot at, getting locked up. You know what I mean? Getting high. That was it. That was my whole life. All I knew, that's all I ever did. Then one day, I ran into these church people, told me about the Lord, man. And it made me look at myself in the eyes of the Lord, and I got rocked.
If you're just tuning in, it's Street Sermons with Keno right here on Power 92, and we're talking to rapper Thi'sl all the way from St. Louis. So what was it that changed you? What was it that they said that, you went from, like you said, being on the block pretty much all your life to all of a sudden they say something that makes you think? What was it that made you think and made you ultimately come to the Lord?
Well, one of the things that really egged it on for me was right before I got saved, one of my friends I had grew up with all my life, I'm talking about a dude I had grew up with from little, he killed my cousin.
Wow.
And it rocked me. I'm talking about rocked me so hard because he killed a dude that I love. This is my best friend in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when he died, bro, that was one of the things that rocked me so hard. It caused me to examine myself.
Okay.
Before the church even came, I looked at my cousin's death and I was like, man, one day I'm going to straight die and go before the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And And at that point, I was so torn up, man. I was praying. I'm just seeking God, like, on my own before the church came. And I'm like, Lord, man, like, I hated life then. I hated the hood. Because I'm like, this stuff, it's just like you go invest your whole life and all your money in the stocks and then it crashed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's your security.
Wow.
I had invested my whole life into this neighborhood. And then at one day, everything I thought was real to me was destroyed. And I hated the hood. I hated dude. And I was just praying. I'm like, Lord, man, give me a better way to live, and I'm going to do it. So by the time the church came, I'm already examining myself, looking like, man, like, I'm going to go before the Lord one day when I die.
Exactly.
Is God pleased with my life? You know what I'm saying? Because before then, I had a philosophy on God. I'm like, God real. God know everything. God knew I was going to be born here. He knew I was going to be in the hood. He knew I was going to have to hustle to survive, so God cool with what I'm doing. That was my philosophy.
Right.
But once I got rocked with the fact of looking at my cousin in that casket, I'm like, man, is God really pleased with how I'm living? Because one day I'm going to go before him.
Wow.
When the church came, it was just a further confirmation of like, man, here's a better way for you to live right here.
Exactly. Like